Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Teresa Maunganize. I am an orthopaedic specialist nurse based in St Albans. So I'm just going to share a poem about stuff that is very personal to me. Growing up as a little child in Africa, I was made to believe that whites were superior than blacks. I was made to believe that beautiful is having long flowing hair and blue eyes. For a while, I failed to see the beauty beyond this brown skin and thick hair. I migrated here to find a better way of life, only to realize the difference was the same. The fact that my education was at par and in some cases superior than most of my white classmates was not enough. It was one day when the lecturer told me that racism exists in this country, whether we like it or not. He did not know how that made me feel. I learned to accept it as a norm without the desire to change it until I had a child. I held my child in my arms and realized that unless I stopped the change, he was always going to be disadvantaged because of the color of his skin. I realized his level of success was predetermined by the color of his skin. Do you know that 51% of prisoners in a Young Offenders Institute are from a BME background? How do you think that makes me feel? I stare at him and reflect on my own experiences of being a minority in a privileged country. I remember the countless times I was convinced that my knowledge, skill, experience will land me a promotion. I saw countless less experienced people become my seniors, and automatically us, the black juniors, became the majority. How do you think that made me feel? It is then when I quickly learned that the word ambitious can be used in a negative way. All of a sudden, I became too ambitious when I just wanted to be awarded the same acknowledgement for my hard work as my non-black colleagues. I was afraid to speak out lest I be labelled as the one pulling the race card. That is how it made me feel. I am told that perhaps my deep accent makes it difficult for me to articulate myself while in an interview. Let me remind you once again that English is a language and not a measure of intelligence. You say I speak a broken English, but it is only in this country that I learned to say water and not water. I work with you for more than 5 years, and yet you do not know what language I speak, let alone the country I am from. It is easier for you to refer to me as the African one, because I am told apparently we all look the same. Once again, I will remind you that Africa is a continent and not a country. Once in a while, I would like you to say hello to me in my own language. Make me feel that I'm welcome, and make me feel that my language and culture is the perfume on the rose and not the thorn on the stalk. Once in a while, I would like you to ask me how I feel. You agitate me to the point where the only way I can express myself is in my own language. When I get sad and cannot articulate myself, you start to call me aggressive. How about if you ask me how I feel? You look at my surname and say it is difficult to pronounce, yet you do not even try. Some call it funny, some call it strange, weird, you name it. Growing up, I had fun rearranging all the 11 letters in my surname until I got it right. Little did I know that one day it will be a disadvantage in my employment years. How do you think that makes me feel? Having black friends and cheering for black footballers or Mo Farah does not make you a non-racist. Traveling to an African safari or going on a Caribbean cruise does not make you non-racially biased. How do you think I feel when the most powerful man in the world passes racial remarks daily like it's a form of breathing? How do you think I feel when I'm not allowed to speak about my feelings of discrimination lest I be accused of pulling the race card? All I'm asking is to be accepted the same way you accept the non-black. All I'm asking is to be respected the same way you respect the non-black. I am asking to be acknowledged the same way you acknowledge the non-blacks. Ladies and gentlemen, it starts with you. It starts with you to identify your own internal prejudice that naturally draws you to people of your own color, whether black or white. It starts with you to not turn a blind eye to racial remarks and innuendos that have become socially accepted. It starts with you to realize that an accent is a two-way process. The same way that you may struggle to understand a black person is the same way the black person may struggle to understand. Is the same way a black person may struggle to understand you. It starts with you to call it what it is. Black or white, we all have a responsibility to do our bit to stop discrimination. Once in a while, ask me how I feel.
Well,
Okay.